Hi there, this is Nicole Dyer from the Research Like a Pro question and answer series. And today, Diana Elder, accredited genealogist, will be talking about tips for creating a timeline in Airtable, specifically using our Research Like a Pro with DNA template. And she's going to show about how to add a source to your research log and then check the box for the automation to automatically add an entry to your timeline, and then she'll share some examples from her Weatherford case and show how you can use one source to create multiple entries in the timeline.
I always like to start off with a tip, and the theme for this month was timelines and source citations and file organization. So I thought I'd just do a tutorial on the newest timeline portion of the 2025 Airtable base because it does work a little bit differently and it's just really neat. If you haven't tried it yet, maybe this will get you excited about trying it out. So the first thing you need to understand is that before you create your timeline, you have to add your sources to the research log because the timeline is going to draw on the source in the research log. And the reason that we set it up this way was so we don't have to duplicate and copy and paste so much between the research log and the timeline. So when you first do this step, you're going to go back and gather up all your sources. And this is such an excellent opportunity for you to really look at that source carefully. Even if you feel like you have looked at that 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, look at it again and create a good source citation. This is a chance to go to the beginning of the digitized microfilm. Look at what the details are on whatever website. Really try to learn about the source. That will just deepen your understanding and it will help you in your analysis. And it may help you discover something or think of something you hadn't thought of. So get that source citation created and then do your transcription or your abstraction of the source, whatever you need to do, and add that to the results column. And then when you're listing the locality, you want to use the commas. So if you don't have a town, just leave it blank. Um, County, if you don't have a county, just do the comma, leave it blank. State, country, if necessary. It just depends on what your locality is. So I have research in the South. Very seldom have a township or a town, but every once in a while. So I will usually have this blank, then I'll have a comma, and then I'll have the county, and then a comma, then the state, and comma. And because I'm in the southern US, I know everything's in the US, so I don't worry about that. But if you have a project that's going back and forth between, say, Ireland and the US, or England and Ireland, or Ireland and Australia, then you would definitely want to have the country in there. So you get to decide how you want to do that. Now, when all the fields are completed, then we have a new box that you check, and it's an automation. And it is called Add to Timeline. And you might have some questions about if you can use this with the free Airtable plan, and yes, you can. So good news, you can continue to just be on free as long as you want, as long as you don't have more than 1,000 rows. So this is what it looks like. And I thought I would just demonstrate this. This is where the new automation appears. It says add to timeline and it's a checkboxes. So when you hover over it, a checkbox appears, you click in it, and then you'll have a check and it will show you that you have added it to the timeline. So we're going to look at this 1860 census for Henderson Weatherford. And the census has multiple items that could be added to a timeline. You can have it as the residence, you can have it as the birthplace for all the different children, and sometimes you might even have it for a marriage. If you've got, say, the 1910 census that records, how many years they've been married. So you'll want to use something like a census multiple times in your timeline. And all you have to do is after you've added it once to the timeline, you come back here, you uncheck it, and you check it again, and it will add another row. So let's see what happens when I check that box and I get a new row. Now I do want to point out that I'm only showing 4 fields here because I've hidden 9 of them. All the ones that say the type of record and the repository and the person and the location, I've hidden all those. That's why you're not seeing those here, but they're right here in the short description. So to save room, I didn't show you that entire, all of the fields there. So once I hit add to timeline, that census now shows up over in my timeline. It takes just a few seconds and then it will appear. And now it's bringing over a lot of the information. 1860 was the date originally. And instead of saying that it's a census, it just says record. And so we have to go in and change it to the type of event we want it to be. It brought over the place, it brought over the event details, the source that it is the 1860 census, but I will need to go and add specific notes for this record. And I do want this to be the birth of Henderson Weatherford. And so I'm going to adjust all of these different fields, these different cells, to reflect his birth. So things we have to change. We have to change the event. We don't want it to just say record. We want it to be birth or residence. And we will need to change the location for the specific event. So it brought in the place of the census, but this is not where Henderson was born. He was born, according to this census, in Arkansas. So I'm going to have to change that. And then we're going to need to change the date for the specific event. He wasn't born in 1860. I'm going to have to change that. We have to add notes about the specific event, so his birth. And then we can analyze the information evidence for this specific event. When I have done all those changes, now he has a birth of 1815. It's a birth, it's Arkansas. And I have some notes that his birth year of 1850 is consistent with the 1850 census, but the Arkansas birthplace is almost certainly inaccurate. And so I have some specific notes that pertain just to his birth, but the source is still the 1860 census. So it's really slick because it's so easy to check that box, have this show up, not have to copy in the actual details or the source citation, and to just quickly go and change the specific things that you need to for the event. So hopefully that helps in understanding how to use the new 2025 Airtable base and starting with the research log for the source and then adding that to the timeline with just clicking in the box.